Hey guys, and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about understanding your product. Now, why do you need to understand your product? Simply put, if you don't understand your product, you won't know how to channel your customer desires. You won't know what avatars to create and what sub avatars to create, what benefits your product has, what your unique selling proposition is. And if you don't know all that, marketing just becomes a lot harder. You just start looking at what the market does, and then you try to use an angle similar to that, and it just becomes harder and harder. But when you understand your product to like the basic level, you start to test things based on that. And we'll talk about desires and benefits and unique selling propositions. We'll dig deeper into those in later lessons. The reason a lot of people don't understand their product, simply put, is they don't do research on their product. They don't know what the benefits are. They don't know what the customer desires are. They don't know what their unique selling proposition is. And that's why it becomes harder and harder to market. And also avatars and that kind of thing. So the foundation is that every product is actually two products. So what you deliver versus what it does for people. So key rule. People don't buy your physical products. They buy what your product does for them. All right? So I'm going to give an example here. So this is a half-gallon water bottle. It just has timestamps. I think it says 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m. It's just a half-gallon BPA free jug of water. All right? We're going to use this as an example. So the most common mistake is people try to target desires that your product cannot live up to. All right? So this ends up targeting people who will not believe their claims. And it basically just causes confusion on why your ads are not working. So whenever you think desires, a good way I think about when it comes to customer desires and basically your product, I like to call it the bridge of trust. So you're going to have a bridge of trust. Now, the further away your customer desire is from your product, the further the bridge of trust, the harder it is to market. So in this example, so let's just say our desire would be, let's say your customer desire is, I want to lose 20 pounds and get in the best shape of my life. All right. That's the desire, right? And your product is this guy, a BPA free half-gallon water bottle. Now, no matter how good the bottle is, the bridge of trust is going to be a lot further. Like you probably can't even see in the screen, but it's going to be a lot further. And it's going to be a lot harder to market on how this product is going to make your customer's desire is to lose 20 pounds and get in the best shape of their life. How is this half-gallon BPA-free water bottle going to make your customer lose 20 pounds? It's going to be super hard to market. Now, if you do actually find a way of how this half-gallon water bottle gets someone to lose 20 pounds, then you have become like a marketing genius. And honestly, you have touched a market or tapped into a market that no one has touched. And you basically become a world-class marketer at that level. All right. So let's put this water bottle to the side. So why they don't match? No matter how good the bottle is, it cannot fulfill the desire of losing 20 pounds. You can try to stretch that marketing, but it will always feel fake and unbelievable. All right. And that's where market sophistication comes in. And we'll talk about that in later lessons. Just basically how much of the market has seen this type of marketing. How sophisticated is the market? So if they haven't seen it, that thing, like if they haven't seen that this product can lose 20 pounds, can lose someone 20 pounds, then the market isn't highly sophisticated. And you basically tapped into a market that is not sophisticated. And you can basically dominate the market if this product can actually make someone lose 20 pounds. But if it can't, then that's something else. It's going to be super, super hard to market. All right. So, how bad marketing sounds when they don't match. Basically, drink our BPA free bottle and burn fat faster. No matter what you do, that is always going to sound skeptical, and the market is highly sophisticated. Or lose weight by switching to a cleaner water bottle. It is unbelievable. Like, no one is going to trust that marketing. And it does not work because the performance of the product does not match the desire. All right. So you want to think of desire and product. All right. That's the first two. Now we'll dig deeper into how you get desires, and that's based on benefits, and how you start creating desires based on your specific avatars. We'll talk about those in later lessons. But this is just a broad overview. So you have the two product reality. So now that we understand desire and our physical product, all right, and then we have the bridge of trust. Now we have the two product reality, which is your physical product, which is this guy. That is your physical product, which is the material, the ingredients, and the component that you deliver. Whatever this is, plastic, size, weight, construction, specification, whatever it is, half gallon. It's got timestamps on the side. So what is the physical product? And then the functional part of the product. So what does this product do for your customers? So what is the benefits? All right. So the benefits of this product is it holds a half gallon of water inside this jug. And basically, I have to just fill it up maybe once or twice per day. And I can keep track of the water I'm drinking. And when I keep track of the water that I'm drinking, I know how much water I have drank. All right, so this is what it's doing for the customer. All right, so it's just holding their water. There's also some other benefits like BPA free, which is basically a chemical that is not used in this product. But we'll talk about that when it comes to unique selling propositions. So we have the two product reality. We have the physical product and the functional product. You want to map out those two for your product. So on a physical standpoint and on a functional standpoint, what does it do for my customer? And then what is the physical product? All right, let's talk about a 9-figure tip. So a lot of the biggest brands, they start with the customer and the desire. That's it. They just start with those two. They don't really like dig into like basically avatars that they haven't touched yet or they're not familiar with. They start with the customer and the desire that they have, and then they optimize their product around that. So for example, Hexclad they do like frying pans and like kitchen stuff. And the founder was just basically sick and tired of seeing their frying pans just basically get rusted or have burn marks or that kind of thing. So they created really durable frying pans that were just they're basically blacked out from the outside, and it's just a lot more durable. And they just marketed that product. And their customer desires were, we want frying pans that last a long time, and not after every use they just start to look rusty or have burn marks or that kind of thing. So they just built a product around that desire, and they just focused on that. Ridge did a similar approach. Rich just creates minimalist wallets, very small, tiny wallets, probably like this thick. And they've seen the market. There's like trifold wallets, there's bifold wallets, and they're like, okay, how do we create just a simple product um, for customers that just want just a simple wallet? That's what their desire was. And they're like, okay, let's create a product around that. And then Grunes did a competitor approach. So if you're not familiar with AG1, AG1 is just basically it's like a multivitamin, green juice, that kind of thing. So they do like it's all it's like a green juice powder. Pour it into water, mix it up, and you have yourself a green juice. So what Goons did is like, I don't think people want to mix up, this green juice inside a water bottle. So what they did is they just created gummy bears. So you're basically not drinking this whatever 20 ounce or 18 ounces of green juice. You're just chewing a little bitty gummy bear that's like about like this size. And they created like avatars based on that, like for kids and that kind of thing, where they start marketing to their parents, and they're like, "Hey, you can get these vitamins, and you don't have to drink an 18-ounce of green juice. You can just chew two gummy bears." And they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And they just right now, I think they're evaluated at 680 million grunes. So it's a pretty big brand. And that's what they did. They just figured out what is AG1 liking, and they're like, okay, we're gonna make our product in a gummy bear form. All right, that was a 9-figure tip. This is why it is important to understand um, your physical product, and then the functional or the functionality of your product. Basically, what your product does for your people, for your customers, and then also your desires. What do they want? What do your customers want? All right. And we'll talk about benefits, desires, and unique selling propositions in later lessons more in depth so you know how to create those for your product. All right. So let's scroll down to product mechanism. So, what is a product mechanism? A product mechanism is just a specific way your product creates its result. Now you're talking about how it does it. It's not what it does, but how it does it. All right, so how does your product differentiate from the market? Now, why does a mechanism matter? A mechanism, it basically creates believability in a sophisticated market. So if I'm selling, let's say for instance, this half-gallon water bottle, which right now I'm pretty sure the markets are saturated with half-gallon water bottles, but let's just pretend the market is not saturated with half-gallon water bottles. It is not common. Let's just say there's just only 20-ounce water bottles. These half-gallon and full-gallon water bottles are not common. Now, whenever you're creating a mechanism for this particular product, you want to look at everyone else. You want to look at the competitors that sell this similar product. And you want to think of, all right, what separates me from the crowd? All right, so what separates you from the crowd? That's it. And what separates, let's just say, for example, for this one is BPA free. That's it. It's just BPA free. For those of you who don't know what BPA free is, it's just it's a chemical that is harmful for you, especially if they make it in the plastic. It is harmful for you, and it can actually get into your bloodstream and that kind of thing. So basically, it causes like health benefits, or it causes health problems, not benefits. So This product is BPA free. That is a mechanism. It is unique. Let's just pretend the market there nobody is using this claim, BPA free, and you're maybe let's just say the second or third person that's just using BPA free. The market is not highly sophisticated about this product. All right, so that's BPA free. Now, a bad example would be our bottles keep your water clean. If a customer was actually looking at an ad or whatever it is, and they just see this USP, or unique selling proposition. It's unique selling proposition and product mechanism is a similar. It's a similar approach, but we'll just keep product mechanism or mechanisms. So let's just say if they saw this mechanism, our bottle keeps your water clean. Now, that is a bad example, especially if you're trying to stand out from the market. Now, let's just say your mechanism was our bottle uses BPA-free plastic that prevents chemical leaching, so no toxins ever seep into your water, keeping it truly clean and safe to drink. That is a good mechanism. It gets straight to the point, and it tells you why you need a BPA-free plastic half-gallon water bottle. So the mechanism is just basically, scroll down a little bit, the mechanism is just basically BPA free. And it makes the claim believable. All right? You're reinforcing your mechanism by saying prevents chemical leaching. All right? So that's what makes you different from the marketplace. That is your product mechanism. Now, Eugene would say, he's a famous marketer, mechanisms make people believe this will work when everything else failed. All right, so that's when the market has seen enough of this type of advertising or this type of mechanism that they don't believe it. We'll talk about sophistications in later lessons so that way you understand, okay, how sophisticated is my claim? Because if your claim is highly sophisticated, then it becomes a lot harder to market that claim. All right, it's just like the 20-pound example. No matter how much, like, no matter what I say, I am not going to convince people that this product will make my customer lose 20 pounds. It becomes very hard. All right. So that is product mechanisms. Now, why this matters for avatar creation is because without clear performances, you channel desires that your product cannot live up to. Remember that bridge of trust, or your product and your desire. Remember, every performance your product delivers is a potential avenue to a different avatar within your market. The key is choosing which performance and therefore which avatar to focus on first. We'll talk about avatars in later lessons and like sub avatars. But avatar is just basically a big group of audience, and then your sub avatars is a narrowed down version of that. But ultimately, when you find your avatar and you find their desires, and then you market those benefits, and they like the product, you can start to scale your marketing. So the bottom line is, don't worry about who to target right now, what to say, or how to scale. You want to basically focus on what your product does. You want to master that. So master what your product is and what it does. And once you have that, everything else becomes easier. And that's why the foundations is very important, because when you understand the foundations, when you understand your customer desires, their benefits, and which avatars you're targeting after, you can start to tailor your marketing towards that. And you're like, oh, this avatar did not perform well for us. Okay, we can move on to another sub avatar. All right, that's it for this lesson. Just make sure you fill this out. That way you understand your product. And I'll see you in the next one.